This is Jeremy Phillips from findingyourchurch.com, and one of the challenges with creating a website on your own as a church tech staff member or a volunteer or something like that, but one of the challenges for creating a website for your church is the audio and video sermon archives and the podcasting aspect of it. So you can create a podcast really easily with a plugin called Blueberry, and you can shoot that into iTunes and Stitcher and different things, and it's free, and it's a solution, but it doesn't provide the player view for the user experience on the actual website. And so a lot of people like iTunes, and then a lot of people just like to go to the site and experience it, but the Blueberry plugin for WordPress doesn't accomplish both. It just creates kind of a simple little player in a blog post format for each individual sermon, and so it's really hard to find the sermons. It doesn't group them into series unless you created categories, and it's just a whole workaround. It works, but it's kind of a mess. And so what I wanted to do is find a plugin for WordPress so that you could have the best of both worlds. So you could put it into iTunes, put it into Stitcher, and then also have an interface for somebody to be able to use on your actual website that was going to look good, that was going to be effective. And this one, it actually blows those expectations out of the water, because it not only does that, but you can embed the sermon a widget into any part of the website. So you can embed a series, you can embed a specific sermon. So let's say you have a baptism page, you could put a sermon about baptism on there and put that in there specifically, just that sermon for that page, or a series about something more specifically. And so it has a lot of functionality, and you can even, when you're clicking through the archives, you can even pull up an entire series and just see all the sermons in that series. So you're not just seeing a whole long list of sermons and something that you're having to filter through to find what you want. You're seeing just the series that you want, or just the speaker that you want, or just the topic that you want. And so it separates them out and makes that a lot easier to use for the user experience, plus being able to shoot that into iTunes to have a true podcast. And a lot of people on their website call their media section a podcast, and all it does is just sits there with links. That's not a podcast. A podcast pushes that audio or video out onto something like iTunes, and that way somebody can subscribe to it, and every time you put out a new audio or video, then it will automatically shoot out to them on their phone, on iTunes app or whatever. And so it's being podcasted, it's not just sitting there. So this is an excellent solution, and you can find that out. Find the link to this WordPress plugin. It is a premium plugin. It's not a free one, but because of everything that it offers, it's an absolute great deal for you to be able to put a true podcast and a great user experience on your WordPress website. And you can do this even if you have hardly any experience. If you can put the WordPress site up using the video that we talked about, how to put up a blog or a website, I talked about that in the YouTube channel. You can go back and view that one. And if you can get that far, then you can get this far and put this plugin into place for you. So if you will go to findingyourchurch.com/sermon podcast, you can find the link to this plugin, and it's the exact one that we recommend. And I would challenge you to get a podcast up, a true podcast, one that goes out to people as soon as possible for your church.